Innovation has been at the forefront of AM Best's minds in the last year, particularly with regards to publishing a report on innovation and featuring this topic at Insurance Market Briefing Europe. I'm Yvette Essen for AM Best TV, and I'm joined by Matt Mosher, the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer for AM Best. We've published a report looking at innovation recently. Can you tell me what was the rationale behind this publication?
Well, we started looking at this back in March even, in terms of what's changing the industry when you had all the demographic changes, the economic changes, the technology changes that are out there, the need for new policies. And we really felt like, insurance companies need to be looking forward. How can they better serve their customers? How can they bring better products to the marketplace to maintain a strong position in the marketplace and serve their customers in the best way they can? So we thought we need to start to consider this in terms of the rating and the financial strength, because if they're not doing this, this will ultimately in the long run hurt them. And in that process, we felt like we needed to get an idea of where do things stand and work through things. So what we did is we did a survey, and here's a copy of the survey, and really looked at it in terms of where does the industry stand, where are we starting from. So from there, what our plans are, and looking at it, understanding that right now they're looking at what's the best way to service the customers, bring the current policies to the customer, really the distribution source and where they're looking at. So we looked at that. We looked at the challenges that they had in the industry in terms of innovating. What are the challenges they see? They found that people and culture were the biggest problems that they had. So what we're doing now is looking at that and saying, where do we go from here in terms of innovation? How do we fit it into our rating process?
So we published the report, which is available on ambest.com, but here at Insurance Market Briefing Europe, we've had a panel session specifically looking at innovation and technology. You were involved in the panel, you were a participant. Did your findings on that panel correlate with what you were saying in the report? Did it undermine it? Did it reinforce ideas?
Well, it was really interesting in the fact that one of the panelists was from Munich Re, and the comments being as to why did they start getting involved in innovation, supporting innovative efforts. And it was really the same rationale we felt were important as to why we should look at what insurance companies are doing, the changes that we're seeing in the marketplace and so forth. So, that certainly reinforced where we were at. In terms of the issues and new policies in the changing market, I think the panelists kind of focused on that aspect. It really didn't, just because of the time element, we didn't get too much detail into the business processes and the changes of delivery, the new companies and what they're doing to change the overall insurance product. We didn't get too far down that line, but we did talk about driverless vehicles and the motor industry and what the impact that's going to have on the motor industry, and really did kind of reinforce the fact that insurance companies need to change to look at where things are going forward to maintain a position of value to their customers.
So a lot of reinforcing there, but were there any points raised during the panel session that cast a slightly different light or elaborated on some of the report findings?
No, not really. I mean, the importance of culture was a big issue and discussion, and a lot of the questions that came from the audience of what are the concerns that you see with employees that don't want to really be innovative because they're afraid of losing their job, and that was a topic of discussion. And the important part is that people understand that innovation isn't an end game. You don't get to the point of, okay, we're done innovating, I don't need people anymore because I've innovated them out of a job. People are what make your culture. You need a culture that's going to allow you to continue to look for different ways to improve. And artificial intelligence is a topic that everybody likes to discuss, but we haven't gotten to the point where artificial intelligence can then continue to innovate and innovate and innovate on its own. It's people that drive innovation and look for better ways to do things.
You mentioned earlier our methodology. Are there plans to build innovation into our methodology?
Absolutely. As I mentioned, we feel it's important to financial strength and where we're going. So this survey kind of sets a bar of where are we at right now for the industry. And what we're working on now is a criteria procedure, which is kind of a process paper that shows how do we look at a specific topic. For example, BACAR, we have a criteria procedure on how you run our capital model. This is a criteria procedure on how do we evaluate the level of innovation that a company has. So we'll look at that, and it'll allow us to develop a process by which we look at the level of innovation a company has, but also what are the outcomes from that innovation. You can innovate and spend lots of money to be innovative, but get nothing out of it. So we're looking at both ends of it, the input for innovation and the output from innovation, and working through that. So we've developed something that we're still working on. We're expecting to release early in 2019, and it'll be out for comment, and this will be an issue that we have to look at over a long period of time. And over in the long run, once we have an ability to evaluate a company's level of innovation, what we'll do is look at our methodology and how much weight it should carry. And we expect that to change over time because we expect the acceleration of more data, of just more changes in the marketplace, that innovation will be that much more important, that we will expect we'll be changing our methodology over the long run for innovation to carry more weight in the business profile section of how we evaluate companies.
Matt, so we'll be hearing a lot more in the next year or so about innovation and our methodology.
Yes, absolutely. As I said, it'll be out for comment. It'll take a while. It's an important issue. We know we don't have all the answers, and we're going to need a lot of input from the industry and industry constituents, and we expect after that comment period, we'll finally come out with a final criteria that we put into place and actually put into action.
And more will be on our website at some later date, and we'll be consulting the market.
I would expect early 2019 it'll be out for consultation, and it'll be a lot of 2019 will be the comment period, perhaps 1 or 2 comment periods. After we get the first round of feedback, putting another one out for more comments, but it'll be a process.
I'm sure the market will look forward to that. For AM Best TV at Insurance Market Briefing Europe, I'm Yvette Essen.